Thank you for taking some time. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you for allowing me to be here.
So I want to get started with a pretty simple question that gets to the heart of this campaign. Why are you a better choice than your opponent, Annise Parker?
I'm the most progressive candidate in this race, and I know oftentimes folks kind of hear the word progressive and they don't really understand what that means, but that means focusing on social values, but also being fiscally responsible, not conservative, but responsible. And I believe that my opponent is more of a centrist, and she's more status quo. She is a career politician, and I'm not. And I think that's a benefit for me because it allows me to not be in that bubble of not understanding what people really need and being in touch with the needs of folks. And so I'm the best candidate for this race. My background is different. My perspective is different. I come from a healthcare background. All of those allow me to look at people where they are and focus on quality of life issues.
You've called yourself an underdog in this race. Why do you see yourself as the underdog, and do you believe an underdog can win?
Yes, so I'm definitely the underdog, and primarily because my opponent has held multiple offices. She has a level of name ID that scared a lot of folks. And so we had to spend the first part of this primary really getting our name out there. Although it ran at large for the city of Houston twice, we did have a good reputation, but my name across the county was something we had to work on. Even though my opponent may not have represented all of the county, people still knew her name. Her name was still familiar to them. And so we had to get to a point to where people know who we are. Now in a runoff, we are now level set. We're in a position now where people know exactly who we are, don't have to define that anymore, but now we talk about what we're going to do and how we're going to make the county better.
Mayor Parker told us her experience makes her the better choice. I asked her the same question I led with you, and she led with experience. She says she's the one with the most experience that makes her the best for this position. I've seen interviews you've done where you've called, you've agreed that she does have experience, but you've called it dated experience. What did you mean by that?
So the county is very different now than it was 10 years ago. My experience on city council is current. I went through 6 storms, I've been through COVID. I know and relate to the people that live within the county. The average age is 37 years old. Household income's at $74,000. So I've been there and I know the needs. I was the first one to put a generator at Cashmere Gardens multi-purpose center because we understood that generation was a big deal when it came to resiliency. And so I often say this, if you go in a job interview and someone brings in a resume and there's a 10-year gap in their resume, are you going to hire that person? You're going to wonder what that person's done. Where have they been for the last 10 years and how they engaged with the job that they're applying for? I look at this the exact same way. She's been gone. She does have experience. I'm not saying that she doesn't, but I've been a small business owner. I have had staff. I understand what it means to take care of people in a healthcare space when there are levels of inequities in healthcare that are insurmountable. And I really have been with people on the ground when they needed us the most. And so I reference her background as that. I'm not minimizing, right, those experiences because I do think that they are important, but she made comments about ICE years ago, right? She made decisions about where her position is with HISD. Those now decisions kind of fast forward were the wrong decisions, supporting the bond, supporting the HISD takeover. Those are dated decisions, right? Because now, currently, those are the wrong side to be on. And so I am new, I'm innovative. I've been in politics just long enough to understand who the players are, but I also have enough of my feet solidly placed on the ground to understand what people really need within the county.
To that point, what is your top priority if elected?
So we're all talking about the same priorities. Disaster recovery and resiliency, that is my job. As a Harris County judge, my responsibility is to make sure that we are prepared for disasters and that we drive dollars down from federal, state, and work with the municipalities to make sure that we are in a good position. But we also have to focus on the public safety aspect of it. We've got to focus on affordability. The criminal justice system is obviously a big part of this. Environmental justice is a conversation as well. And so I've done the work in all of those categories, whether it be creating the crisis intervention teams for mental health, whether it be the environmental justice challenges that we saw in Cashmere Gardens, in Fifth Ward with the cancer cluster, or air quality challenges that we saw in Pleasantville and Deer Park. And so what I want to look at is making sure that we're looking at everything focusing on quality of life challenges. Now, if I were to pick one piece that I want to really focus on, it's the Harris County jail system.
And what would you push for there?
So our Harris County jail system has about 9,000 inmates. We spend about $50 million basically shipping out folks to Mississippi and to Louisiana. We're spending approximately $54,000 annually on them being there. And we've got an 80% mental health challenge within the Harris County jail system. There are so many things that we can do. Early diversion programs, looking at nonviolent offenders and finding an opportunity. I want to create a workforce justice program to where they get, GED and apprenticeship opportunities and in ways in which they can thrive moving forward. But $54 million to move inmates to different states is one thing that can change our budget in a very big way. And a lot of them are nonviolent offenders. So we need to create an environment that the officers that work there, the detention officers that work there are happy, are in a place where they are, comfortable with what they're doing, but they're also supported. We need to deal with the mental health issue on the front end, looking at the root cause of what that looks like. On average, it costs about $12,000 for someone to be treated with mental health. Those are savings. And so that really is going to be my initial focus. Always keeping in mind, though, what my responsibility is, and that's disaster recovery and resilience.
I want to talk a little bit about the person who's in that role right now, County Judge Lena Hidalgo. Obviously, she is not in this race. She opted not to run. But the county judge's office has been in the news a lot as of late, not just in the last few weeks, but in the last few years. Oftentimes, perhaps for reasons one would argue you don't want to be in the news, maybe distracting attention from priorities. So I want, as someone who's running for that position, do you believe County Judge Hidalgo at the moment is serving, or in the past few years, let me rephrase it that way, do you believe the county judge is serving the constituents of Harris County to the best of her ability as the county deserves?
So I would want her to speak for herself on that. I spent time with Judge Hidalgo during COVID and during natural disasters, and we worked really well together. That is my experience with her. What I would like our listeners, our viewers, to understand is that an administration under Plummer, a Plummer administration, will be collaborative, it'll be data-driven, it will focus on root causes of the challenges that we're seeing, it will look at fiscal responsibility, and it will be people-focused. That's the county, that's the administration that I will run as a county judge. What's happening currently, I don't really want to speak on. It's so difficult to comment, right, on what's happening right now. I will say to you, though, that under my oversight, it will look very, very different.
How important are relationships with commissioners? I think people think judge, you're going to be wearing a black robe, but that's not what this role is. It's basically the CEO of this board, but you have 4 board members that you need to work with very closely. And critics would argue that, I don't even think critics, a constituent logs on to these meetings and watches them, and there is admittedly some dysfunction or a lack of relationship, even among Democrats at often points. So I'm curious, how important do you believe the relationship is between the judge and commissioners?
It's incredibly important. And I have that experience as serving as an at-large member. I didn't get a budget like my district members did. And so all the policy initiatives that I wanted to put forward, like my apartment inspection reform ordinance or my ICE ordinance, that took me collaborating with my other council members to get their buy-in so we could get those 9 votes to move it forward. And so we have to work together. And what I want to be is someone that can show them a different way of maybe looking at something. Obviously, the decision of how to spend those resources in their precincts, they know the best. they've got boots on the ground and they are dealing with those, residents more than anyone else is. But I do think that having someone that can, give a different perspective on what that topic is, or how to spend those resources, et cetera, are going to be necessary. And so I'm looking forward to working with all of them. I work with them now. With Commissioner Garcia, we have worked together on the Baylor's mobile medical unit. With Commissioner Ellis, the cancer cluster, and looking at local drainage projects in his community and air quality challenges. With Commissioner Briones, the shared parks initiatives that we've worked on. So we have a good working relationship. But it's also going to be important to work with all of the other leaders in the other 33 cities within the county. So it's really a regional approach and understanding that we all have to make sure that everything that we do is centered on the people that voted for us. And I think sometimes that gets lost.
You've talked a lot about the importance of pushing back against state and federal policies. You've in fact used that as a line of attack against your opponent in this runoff, saying she wouldn't stand up for fights that need to be had at the moment. What does that look like in practice under a Plummer administration?
So it's not contentious. I always kind of go back to the rainbow sidewalk, because I think that's something that's happened most recently. If we continue to allow the state and the federal government to say, if you don't do this, we're not going to contribute, then they're bullying us. And they're going to continue to do that to us. They're not going to take a moment to realize that all of the taking away, them saying they're going to take things away from us, will not allow us to move forward. And so I'm going to push hard on making sure that the county gets the resources it deserves. And that would be in a direct allocation. By the same token, if the state or the federal government is saying that they're not going to give us something because we won't, eliminate maybe how our rail system is working, or, eliminate an expansion of freeways that's going to destroy communities around there, we have to push back and be able to have conversations. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what side you're on. People don't want to flood every time it rains. People don't want to have any crime challenges. People want to live in a community that thrives for them. And so I'm not going to be bullied by the state. I'm definitely not going to be bullied by the federal government. But I'm going to have to find a way to work with them in the ways that we need to drive the dollars down to protect Harris County.
Do you think your opponent would shy away from some
Absolutely.
of those fights?
Absolutely. She is going to be status quo. Completely. Her relationships that she has with Kim Ogg, we saw that with all of the effects it had on the criminal justice system, her positions that she had with HISD, where she positioned herself with ICE, those are status quo decisions. Those are either listening to the power that be or being influenced by donors, regardless of what that looks like. I think that I'm an independent voice. As the county judge, I could be an independent voice, and I truly believe that when you have that level of autonomy, you're able to make the best decisions for the people that you serve.
Obviously, this is now a runoff.
Mm-hmm.
First question, do you think you surprised folks with the results a few weeks ago?
Absolutely.
And what was surprising about it?
Well, they were surprised. I wasn't surprised. I don't believe that polls are, ideal. I think that they were all wrong, and you saw that. People don't understand that when you've got people power behind you, it doesn't matter about how much money you raised. It just levels it off. We have over 150 volunteers on our team. We got there because I will outwork everyone, and I genuinely want to fix the challenges that the county is seeing. And I have the real life experiences to be able to get that done. And that's what people saw in this. They saw a new vision of what Harris County could look like. Someone that's strong and resilient enough to get it done, someone who has a level of intelligence to bring all the stakeholders in a room and make a decision, but also has the grit to kind of execute. And that's what they saw.
Does the strategy look any different in a runoff than what you did in the primary? Are you changing anything up?
We're laser focused. This is my fourth runoff. And One thing about runoffs, you have to bring the folks back that voted for you the first time, and then you got to look at where your battlegrounds were. And so this is a time to laser in on who is going to come back out and vote. We've been successful before. I don't expect us to do this, to deal with the situation any differently.
And my final question for you is the same exact question I closed my interview with Mayor Parker. What is one thing, or a couple things, whatever, however you want to answer it.
Okay.
What do you think your opponent gets wrong about her vision for this job?
I think it's the past. She's coming from a perspective of what it used to be, not what it is now. People in Harris County want something different. We're seeing it over and over across the nation. We're seeing people vote for someone different. And that doesn't mean that you choose the polar opposite of who she is, but you choose someone that has the real life experiences that I have and a different perspective. So this race is about trust. Her decisions in the past, she says she made comments about things in the past, and now then she flip-flops to right now here. Unfortunately, voters don't want that anymore. They want consistency, and they want to be able to believe that the person that leads them has shown that character the entire time that they've led. And that's what they can see in me.
Anything else that I didn't ask you that you want to highlight about yourself or why voters should pick you? Anything I didn't ask that you want to discuss or highlight?
I believe that oftentimes in politics, we are reactive. Because of kind of who I am and being a dentist, everything in my mind is preventive. And if we can focus on the root causes of all of the issues and challenges that we've seen, I truly believe that we can transform what Harris County looks like. It's harder to do it that way though, because you have to take the time and find the answers and find the reasons. But when you fix the problem permanently, then I think that people believe in us, believe in politics, and believe in elected officials once again, and that's what we're going to do for Harris County.
One quick follow-up that I had here on my list. Do you find it, the results were I think 47%, 37%, so it's a 10-point gap. She was close to that 50% threshold, but she didn't get there, which is why we're here. Is it feasible, is it possible for you in a runoff to close that gap, and not just close it, but
Absolutely.
topper?
Absolutely. I believe that she's hit a ceiling. If you look at all of the polling, if you look at the polling numbers, in addition to what you saw, there's a ceiling that she's hit. People believe in a Plummer administration. They genuinely do. And now that we're in a runoff, we can create a clear distinction between the two candidates, and we absolutely can close the gap. We just need people to get back out and vote.
Perfect. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Great.